Hey guys, welcome to this review. In this review I'll be looking at the new Tier 6 Swedish medium tank, the Strv 4257. This was recently introduced in the latest patch and it's actually quite a nice little tank, although there's some issues with it which I'll go into further detail in this review as well as the strong points obviously. So this is the first of the Swedish tanks, and gameplay wise it's really nice. As you can see, I've played quite a number of battles. My crew is pretty experienced already. I've got the first skill at 100% and the second skill almost at 100%. At the moment I'm running this tank with vents because it gives 5% bonus to everything, and since this is an autoloader you always, if possible, want to run with vents because it just makes the loading time slightly less. I'm also running with coated optics. This tank has pretty mediocre view range to begin with. I have, I think, like 360 or 70 or something. So anything to enhance that is really welcome. And additionally, I've got a gun laying drive mounted. This is to bring the aim time down. Unfortunately, this tank cannot mount vertical stabilizers, so this is the third equipment I chose to go with. There's not much else useful you can actually put on this tank, so it's a bit of a downer that you can only have gun laying drive, because the problem with the gun laying drive is that it only works if you're standing still pretty much. But still, I mean, the aim time of 1.96 seconds is not entirely a lie, but it is slightly longer. But the thing is, because this thing is not a light tank, it's a medium tank, so the dispersion is not like ginormous compared to the light tanks when you move. So it actually, you aim pretty reasonably fast, but it doesn't feel like 1.96. It feels more like 2.1. But all in all, I mean, it's definitely not bad. So my stats so far in this tank, I have played 34 battles in randoms. A lot of them were platoons, so the win ratio is slightly inflated, but as you can see, quite a nice XP, average XP of 988 as well. And we've got 1288 average damage per battle, which is not too much. I mean, I've had some shitty battles in between, and I mean, the thing is with a 2 or 3 man platoon, there's a way less damage to hoover up. And since this thing is not particularly super fast, it means that at the start of the match you sort of are able to keep up with your team, but if your platoon or team has a lot of Cromwells in the late game, you'll basically lose out on a lot of damage because you will not reach the battlefield in time. Marks of Excellence, not too far yet, nearly 50%, but I mean, it's only 34 battles, so not too shabby. But the main thing is that I played this tank in skirmishes a lot, and I mean 204 battles in skirmishes is actually quite a lot, and 84% win ratio. I really like this tank in skirmishes because it's got a really nice autoloader. I mean, the autoloader, if you're familiar with it or not, it has 4 shots of 150 damage average each, so that combines to a total of 600 damage per clip, with a reload on my tank of 15 seconds more or less. I will at some point retrain the crew to Brothers in Arms, so this will probably go on to be like 15 seconds exact or something, but at the moment it isn't. Let's quickly go into the stats on Tanks GG and compare this tank to its counterparts, as well as have a look at the armor, and then I've got 2 Ace Tanker gameplays for you to look at. So here we have the Strv 4257 compared to some of the other Tier 6 tanks that are available in the game. I will compare it in a minute to more specific the medium tanks of Tier 6, and after that we're going to have a quick look at the armor. But straight off the bat we can see that the Strv, I mean, in this like stats view, all of these tanks have got vents and rammer mounted, so keep that in mind when you see the DPM values, but it's just for comparison reasons. And the reason why I compare it to other tanks with vents and rammer mounted is that they can, while the Strv can only mount vents. which is a severe drawback, as you can see, because right off the bat the Stridsvagn has got with vents a DPM of 1714 damage per minute. Now look at all the other tanks. As you can see, most of them have got around 2200 DPM. I mean, obviously the SU-100Y has slightly less, but that has an alpha of 500 something, I think, or 440. Yeah, 440, but it usually, I mean, tends to roll like 450, 460. But anyway, I mean, as you can see, there's quite a big discrepancy in terms of damage per minute. That's almost 500 DPM that the Stridsvagn has got less to begin with. Now the penetration 148 is not too bad compared to the others. I mean, it could be slightly better, but it's workable, definitely. Damage 150 per shot, which is quite nice for this autoloader, giving it 600 damage per clip, which is good. The rate of fire, pretty low, but I mean, obviously it's an autoloader, so you do burst damage, you don't do consistent damage. Reload 15 seconds, we already saw that. But by the way, the shell velocity is quite nice as well compared to some of the other tanks. But the DPM is definitely a drawback, and another drawback to this tank, which is not really obvious at the start, is the engine health, and this is a major drawback when playing it. I mean, it's got 100 engine health, which is not too uncommon. I mean, you can see some lower values here, but the thing is, this is a massive target. It has no armor, and believe me when I say that usually on the first shot you receive, even if it's from a Cromwell or a light tank, it will outright destroy your engine. It will not damage it, make it yellow, it will make it red. And couple that with the fact that most of the time you also get tracked at the same time, you're basically screwed, because you're in the middle of the field, you have no engine, you have no tracks, and that was GG. It's one of the major drawbacks I noticed, because I played this tank in skirmishes at the start, 204 skirmishes, and then I started to play it more in randoms just to get a feel for the tank. Makes you a better player in it, I think. And this is one thing I noticed, is that, I mean, your engine gets knocked out so often, it's quite unbelievable. So either it's this engine health value which is completely screwed up, or the hitbox for the engine is screwed up, because it doesn't matter if they shoot you in the front or the back of the hull, your engine will get destroyed regardless. So something is really bad. Ammo rack health is not too bad. You don't get ammo racked often, but if you get hit by a larger caliber gun, there's a really big chance you'll blow up. One thing to keep in mind when you drive this tank is that the ammo rack, I think, is on the left hand side of the hull, almost directly under the turret. So it doesn't get blown up from the right hand side much, but the left hand side, I've been blown up 2-3 times in skirmishes, so keep an eye on that and try to expose only your right hand flank. Gun handling itself is quite nice. I mean, these values are not too shabby. They're pretty average, actually. I mean, it's all pretty okay. Gun depression is 6 degrees, which is a bit limited. Personally, I would have liked to see this tank have 7 or 8 degrees gun depression. I mean, I know it's based on an AMX turret, but I mean, a little bit would be nicer, especially since it's such a tall vehicle. So now we look at it compared to the other tier 6 mediums, and as I said earlier, the DPM is 1700, which is kind of average, and quickly we see that most of the other mediums, at least around the 2200 mark, with the exceptions being these 3, which have 2500 DPM. So I mean, that's close to twice. Well, not close to twice. I mean, it is quite hefty. It's almost 1000 DPM more than the Stridsvagn has, because the Stridsvagn can't mount the rammer, which is a drawback. And to be honest, though, I think to properly balance out this tank, the DPM value should be raised to around the 2000 mark. It shouldn't be 2200 because it's still an autoloader, but I think the major drawback to an autoloader should be that you do your damage in bursts rather than consistent, but the DPM value should still match. I mean, and if the DPM of this tank were to go up to 2000, it would actually get a reload or clip reload of 12 seconds instead of 15, which I think is definitely not overpowered if you have a look at tanks like the T25, which have like a 7 or 8 second clip reload. So I think it's a tip for wargaming. They probably won't listen to, well, they never listen to it anyway, because they balance their tanks on their holy server numbers. But I think this tank could get a DPM of 2000 and still be competitive, not overpowered. Get its engine fixed, either the engine or the engine hitbox, either which is bugged, which is causing all these engine knockouts all the time. Ammo rack is pretty much fine, maybe a slight increase to the gun depression, 7-8 degrees would be nice. But I mean, despite these drawbacks, the autoloader, don't get me wrong, is really powerful as long as you are definitely an experienced autoloader driver, because you need to make sure that you hide when you reload and that enemies can't storm you, or otherwise they will just kill you, because you do 600 damage, which is not enough to kill a Cromwell. So if you take on a Cromwell 1v1, you will die, because he has way higher DPM. He will completely slaughter you. You have no chance. Before you'll be reloaded the second time, you're dead. So don't engage any tier 6 mediums straight on. Have some backup. Play it a bit careful at the start of the game. Don't be too reckless, but you can put this autoloader to good use in like the mid-late stage of the battle. So now we have a quick look at the armor. It will be a very quick look, because as you can see, armor values, I think we can safely say that your dad's car probably has more armor than this tank. So do not expose anything of this tank to the enemy if you can help it. I mean, this is completely idiotic. 9 health, or 9 millimeters of armor. So yeah, if RT hits you, you are basically wrecked. Any HE shell that hits you will pretty much wreck your tank as well. I mean, it's not uncommon to take 400 or 500 damage from HE shells in this tank. Trust me, I've played it enough in skirmishes to get even like M4 tanks, Shermans and Panzer IVs with the, or like the later Shermans with the derp gun. They can completely wreck your tank. So don't even think about it. And RT 600 damage, especially if they land on this area of your tank. It's basically goodbye. KV2s will one-shot this tank pretty consistently as well. So anything with a derp gun, avoid it. So yeah, no armor whatsoever, but I mean, you don't play this tank for the armor, you play it for the autoloader, and the autoloader does make up for a lot of the flaws. So let's get into 2 of the games I have prepared for you. Both of them are ace tanker badges, and then you can get a feel for this tank in battle. So here is the first match with me in the Strv and mostly played from IGT and the Cromwell B, and we're here on the fancy map of Runeberg in an encounter battle to see what we can do. In both of these matches I will be playing this tank a bit cautiously at the start, because that's the best way to play autoloaders. It's not your job to go really at the front line and brawling with everyone. Especially because you have no armor. It's your job to especially engage unawares targets and just try and put consistent damage in. Already we can see one of our Cromwells being very, very useful and suiciding at the start of the match, which was a bit of a disappointment. Mostly is engaging these guys on the right, and I try to move up as well, see if I can put some shots in. Doesn't seem to be happening yet, but then we see this guy standing still. Mostly bumps into me, unfortunately. I fire 2 shots and then I just get out of there. I notice that I'm spotted, and I don't really know what this Yak Panther is doing here. But as you can see, the shots itself you can pump out relatively quickly, and the aim time isn't too bad with the speed of this tank. At first I thought to be a bit careful with this OI, but he's not looking at me at all, so yeah. And there we have the RT-XVM focus trying to hit me. I mean, obviously there's not much more important targets like the heavies on the right or the other guys at the back that need shooting. No, the guy behind the actual houses needs to be killed because he's got the best stats, yeah. So already this match is off to a good start. But we've put some nice fire in. I put one shot into T25 and pull back. I mean, I might have an autoloader and I might be able to put 600 damage in, but that doesn't mean that you have to. If it's not safe, just put one shot in, pull back, reload, especially on these autoloaders that have a low in-clip reload. We notice that the enemy is capping, so I'm trying to shoot this guy, get rammed out of the position by a Panther, but let him take the shot. And now it's time to move up. So we've got these guys here, put one shot in, put a second one into something else, and then put the killing shot into Type 58. So the T-34-100 that was spotted here at the start does not seem to be present anymore, and we can see the enemy Tier 7 heavies on the other side of the map. So that means that we need to take this side of the map. We're still ahead in tanks, so it's important to try and keep that advantage, try and kill the RT. It's not working behind cover. That guy is also behind cover, at least for me. But I'm looking at the clock and I say to Mofley we need to go decap, but he says I'll go via this side, kill that guy and then move on. But yeah, that isn't really working out. I mean, to be honest, he said later on as well that he probably either should have killed that guy or tried to kill him and move on. But we've got like 30 seconds on the clock, so I thought we need to actually get here faster. I'm loading a premium clip for the first time because I want to make these shots count. And this guy's camping behind the fountain. First shot goes wide. This gun isn't too accurate, but the second shot actually hits him. So we've successfully decapped, tried to put another one in, but there's no feedback if that hit or not. So for now we've successfully decapped. Most of our team is here to actually try and take care of the cap. So I turn around because there's two Tier 7 heavies on our flank, and I want to engage them. I mean, I'm Tier 6, but I've got an autoloader. I can put some nice damage in, but I want to use range as well because, as I said, this tank has no armor, so I do not want to go into an actual brawl with a T-29. But I see this IS, which is too good to pass up. First shot, unfortunately, goes wide. Tried to put more in, but unfortunately I can't put more fire into that IS, so I have to trust my team over there to actually do the right thing and kill them. I move up again because to the last of my information, the two heavies are still here. The cap is reset. Don't know why the enemy did that, but I guess they thought kill all, don't cap or something. So I'm using these bushes to see if I can actually shoot the enemy heavies. But they don't seem to be here, or at least they're hiding behind buildings. There's one guy in the cap, and now we see the AMX M445 in the middle. So I immediately turn around because I know that the enemy T-29 is probably not there either. We can see him in the town as well. So we need to make these shots count. Long range, this gun is generally not too accurate. As you can see that while the tanks or the shots hit on a heavy tank, sniping at almost maximum range with this gun will make a lot of your shots either go over the target, under the target, left of the target or right of the target, which is a bit annoying. Aiming for this T-29. He gets despotted. I tried to put a shot in, but unfortunately our IS friend is losing his HP. The RT actually managed to track the T-29. This shot goes in between the turret and the hull, the other one into the ground, and the last one hit the mark, which is good. But now they know where I am. I was thinking about turning around, grouping up with the RT, having a bit of a think here, but then I see these two guys remain in the cap, so I need to actually spot them for the arty and hope that the arty can actually hit them. But then we see this T-29 charging at us at full speed. So I guess the kill all don't cap mentality is still alive. I'm using most of this rubble to cover me, but I've got full HP still. So I don't intend to take no risks. I just want to kill that T-29. He's more important than this VK. I noticed that I've got one premium shell left at some point and start reloading now. But I was sort of debating if that VK was a smart player or not, a good player or not, because a good player would go one direction and then go back the other. Seems this VK is not really that smart. He was just lucky to get 3 kills, I imagine. So we just go this way. We need to keep this ridge in between us and the enemy. I tell the arty to stop driving, because there's no need for him to drive. We know where the VK is somehow going, and I mean, just aim the bloody tank. Don't go driving, because it takes you 15 seconds to shoot the enemy now if I spot him. But hey, he just goes on driving. So yeah, very skillful arty player. But I mean, we need to be careful here, because while we've got 3,500 health left, that VK I think can mount 88. I don't know for certain, but he's got a 7.5 inch or 7.5 centimeter gun, which fires pretty rapidly. But we managed to take him out. So that is the first ace tanker badge for me in this tank. It was actually the first ace tanker badge of the day as well. And as you can see, I've got 5 kills this match. I've also managed to get ace tanker, obviously, and high caliber for doing all the damage. I managed to do 2,870 damage, getting 1,328 base XP, and the 5 kills and some ribbons as well. So not too shabby an ace tanker match. Base XP 1,328, which is pretty good as well. I've checked online and I think the highest I could find was 1,500, so 1,300 is not too shabby. But we'll go on to the stat screen for this match, and afterwards we'll go on to the second ace tanker match. Welcome to the second ace tanker match of this review. We're here on Karelia, and this time I'm playing solo, and we're in a predominantly tier 7-8 match on this map, which is a bit unfortunate, sorry. But I mean, nothing unworkable. So I mean, we're defending. This is the assault mode, so I mean, I've got this enabled because I quite like the premise of different map positions as well, because they're quite different on these modes. So I mean, and at the start we see this light tank going through the middle. I'm not in range of being able to get spotted by him, so I'm just aiming, see if I can actually put some fire into the guy. He's stupid enough to drive from behind the rock, so I managed to put a shot in, do some blind shots, but then I see this ELC and he drives in a straight line, so we are able to put a really nice shot into him, and he doesn't like that, but we'll get back to that later on. So I mean, obviously the enemy chat is disabled, but from his behavior later on in the match you can quite clearly see that he didn't like that shot at all. We can see the enemy Oni climbing up the hill there, and he is quite a problem for us, because while an OI experimental or even an OI can be penetrated by the premium shells on this tank, this will be slightly more difficult. I mean, the premium shells on this tank have got 190 penetration, which is actually quite nice. It's workable, definitely. So, but I mean, against an Oni it can be a little bit difficult. We see this T-3485 trying to come for us, but he changes his mind, gets shot in the face by the WZ, and I move up because I know I'm despotted, but I just want to see what's up here. We can see the enemy medium there. He's turning away, so I thought he wasn't looking my way. Unfortunately, I was mistaken. And the Oni also snaps a shot into me. So as we can see straight off the bat, 250 HP left, and there is the ALC Yeah, he really didn't like me firing at him earlier. Luckily I'm able to track him and kill him with the second shot. So yeah, he had a really good match this match. But straight off the bat we can see that this tank, as soon as enemies shoot at you, you will just lose HP. You will, I think in the 204 skirmishes that I played, I bounced one shot off the turret at an extreme angle. That's it. No shot will bounce off this turret, and larger caliber guns will actually overmatch this armor as well. Even if there was a slight chance of them bouncing, they won't. They will just overmatch and still do full damage. Don't know what this WZ is trying to do. He's taking some fire from the Oni, and I actually move up. I've now got a premium clip loaded. I want to try and put some damage into this guy because he's actually one of the major issues at this flank. I can only safely fire into his turret because I do not want to get hit by him again. He can do 300 something damage. I've got 250 health. I will lose that engagement. So just take one shot, pull back and reload. And as I said in the other match, on these short reload autoloaders, you always want to reload if you can, because it's just so much more convenient. Tiger here, we've still got premium loaded, so put one shot in, 2, 3, and the fourth one, of course, bounces because this is an autoloader, and of the 4 or whatever 5 shells if you have them, there's always one that will ding, bounce, or for some reason not penetrate. And even lower your DPM slightly more. So yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. The Oni is still camping behind that rock. Yeah, I guess he's playing his tank well. That is sort of how you should play it. He's got his full HP and he's holding back this entire flank. So yeah, well played to him. I see this T-34-85 that was able to put a shot into me earlier, and I'm able to finish him off with one shot. Don't see anything else on this flank at the moment, so again reload. And as we can see, our other flank did a really fine job of not holding the flank. They're all dead and the enemy will shortly start moving into our base. But yeah, GG. Bulldog was going around. I can see our heavy tanks either completely drove over this flank. I don't know why the WZ is on the other side of the Oni, but yeah. We need to put some fire in. I'm trying to track the guy here. But with these sort of low damage shots in the autoloader, the chances that you'll track them are pretty low. The Bulldog actually came to my help. He's actually apart from me, the most competent player on this team, at least this match. We managed to take care of the Oni. The Tiger's there. I know that the enemy art is probably in the middle, so I'm just getting behind this bunker here to not take any more fire. I don't know what our Cromwell is on about, but something probably isn't going right. The Bulldog tried to proxy the Tiger, but luckily Artie managed to take him out in a blind shot, and we move back to our base because that's under threat now. Or at least I'm making the effort to move back to base. I won't get there because there's a Bulldog full health spotted in the middle, so yeah, he was really useful to the team at the start of the match. I really have no idea what that guy is doing there, but we've got 3 tanks here, so it should be alright. But he's doing his name proud. It's called Campino or something, and that's what he did the whole match, camping and being useless in a light tank. He will not be useless in the late stage of the match, of course. But at the start he could have probably done more for his team, and we keep losing tanks. Enemy FV picks up one of our tanks. Unfortunately I try to do a peek on the Bulldog. The thing is, I'm in a precarious position here because if there's something in the middle it can actually shoot me here, so I'm trying to not get spotted. See the enemy arty here, so yeah, that's the cue to miss the first shot. Second hits, third one we don't get a chance. I didn't know, or I just aimed in that direction. I thought maybe I could hit the Bulldog here. Just try and put one blind shot in, not working, reloading. And at that specific moment that I'm actually reloading, the enemy Cromwell actually goes on to charge us, super pushing. So unfortunately I could have killed this guy. not happening. But then the enemy Super Pershing shows up. He shows the broadside, and I'm trying to go for the engine fire here, because that would greatly help me out. And on the last shot, we managed to set his engine on fire, and he has either not got a premium fire extinguisher or he's using the manual one, and he pretty much burns to death. So that was quite some welcome damage. We can see that I've got 2 premium shots left, and I'm trying to see if I can get a shot on this Black Prince, but not really happening. So I try to stay close, relatively close to the Bulldog, reload again, and then we see this enemy Bulldog unfortunately behind us. Black Prince managed to shoot us once. I thought when I was playing that it was actually the Bulldog, but then again the Bulldog doesn't chase me, he runs away. I mean, I don't know where he got his light tank tips, on which channel or whatever, because that's just some stupid play. Cromwell here as well. We're reloaded, but I cannot really shoot him from here. I try to get a random shot into that Black Prince, but it won't do much. Seeing if I can find a shot on these guys, but I can't. And that was a bit unfortunate as well. So yeah, now it's just me and the arty left against this team of quite a lot of enemy tanks. The arty is luckily behind me. We see 1 tank capping, so 1 minute 30, and then we see 2 tanks capping, and we see the Bulldog as well. So at this point, I mean, I can try to be a star player, but it's not happening. Not in this kind of matchmaking where there's 2 enemy hold down tanks in the cap, so I know this is lost. There's no use in me trying to get back to base. So I'm just going for the kill on this Bulldog, just because he was annoying as hell. Trying to stay out of shooting range of the T-34 and Black Prince. So we managed to put 1 shot into the Bulldog, 2 shots, 3 shots, and luckily this last one actually kills him. And now we just need to stay safe from the arty, not die, to just get a little bit more XP. And I break because I don't want to get into shot range of the enemy, and the match is lost. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate for the second ace tanker badge, but really there's not much else I could have done this match. This team was pretty useless. I managed to get the ace tanker badge as well as the high caliber and the tank sniper. Managed to do 3,500 damage in a tier 6 medium, but it wasn't enough. I mean, the Bulldog actually did quite well. He did 2,500 as well. But the rest of the team, yeah, pretty mediocre, not really worth mentioning. The enemy team also pretty mediocre, because the highest XP scorer on the enemy team was the Oni that camped behind the rock all the time. So yeah, that was a stellar team as well. So for this match, for me at least, it was obviously it was a defeat, but getting the hero medals, I still got full XP. So the base XP for this match, or at least the base XP at least shown on what replays is 1444. Not too shabby for an ace tanker, but unfortunately it was a defeat, so it doesn't really count. This would have been an awesome 3 times XP, but it wasn't meant to be. Still though, I hope these replays were informative for you in terms of how this tank played. I hope the review in general was useful, and the comparison to its peers. I mean, let me know if you'd like me to add something for future reviews, and I mean, I guess see you guys next time. Hope you liked it.